No, again. I'm a great one for chapels, churches, and prayer rooms, and I seldom pass by one without stopping for a few minutes contemplation or prayer. Over the last few years, though, I've found that this is no longer possible in many locations because almost every chapel and prayer room has now been set up as a mosque, and it is plain that only Muslims are welcome in them. The thumbnail to this video shows what is, without a shadow of a doubt, a mosque. Not only is there nowhere to sit, but those entering are expected to remove their shoes, and attached to the room is a little place with a sink for the ritual ablutions necessary in Islam before praying. This is in the Selfridges department store in London's Oxford Street, and it is described by the shop as a multi-faith prayer room, although it is clearly nothing of the kind. In the description to this video, I give a link to a Muslim site called nearestmosque.com, which enables Muslims to find the nearest mosque to wherever they happen to be. Click on the link I give, and you will see that the listing is given as Selfridges Multi-Faith Room, London, UK. Roll down to the bottom, though, and you will read Selfridges Multi-Faith Room is a mosque situated in London. Its address is 400 Oxford Street. Selfridges Multi-Faith Room, indeed. Now, although I'm happy to visit mosques from time to time and pray in them, which I do if I'm visiting a particular a mosque of particular interest, especially in another country, those smaller places often contain people who do not like to see kuffars entering what they regard as their territory. When I pray to the Lord, I tend to sit quietly rather than stretching myself out on a prayer mat and so on. The presence of somebody who is not a Muslim is often offensive to the more devout Muslims, and so I usually give those kinds of places a wide berth. Increasingly, though, almost every chapel in this country is being converted into a mosque, making them unwelcoming to Christians, Jews, or those of any other religion, Islam. Many now no longer contain benches, pews, or seats, but only prayer mats. For the average Christian, this is off-putting, as sitting on the floor is the traditional way of praying or meditating for Christians. Since so many of these multi-faith rooms now have racks at the entrance for shoes to be placed in, anybody other than a Muslim is apt to feel uncomfortable about entering. Either they can walk in without removing their shoes, and thus guaranteeing to offend any Muslim who happens to be there, or they can remove their own shoes, which again is not really the custom in Christianity before prayer. Then, too, there is the presence of sinks for washing the hands and feet, something else which serves to mark such places out as being, to all intents and purposes, mosques, rather than genuinely being for those of all faiths and none, as the description of such places typically suggests. Viewers might not be aware of the fact that the Natural History Museum in London now has a mosque in it, nor are they likely to know that there is a mosque in the Royal Festival Hall on London's South Bank. I'll give a link to this in the description to this video. Click on the link and you will see at once that this space, although described as a multi-faith prayer room, is actually a mosque, with prayer mats, a rack for shoes, and no seats. There is even a partition to keep men and women separate while they are praying. Imperceptibly, this country is slowly but surely gearing itself towards Islam rather than Christianity. This is being done stealthily by cunning and deceit. If places like Selfridges and the Royal Festival Hall were being honest and open about the matter, then they would simply describe those rooms in their establishments as mosques. which is what they are. Instead, they pretend that they are for the use of members of all religions. Sometimes the arrangements are such that it is impossible for even the most determined Christians to use these facilities. At the New City College, Redbridge campus, a further education college in Goodmayes, East London, there are two multi-faith prayer rooms, one for women and one for men. This segregation makes it impossible for a Christian couple to pray together there, even if they wish to do so. We are slowly being conditioned to accept mosques as a normal, indeed ubiquitous, part of the landscape of our cities. This is one of the ways by which the character of London, Birmingham, and other places is being irrevocably changed. In shops, colleges, schools, and hospitals, we are gradually being conditioned to accept the presence of mosques and to see it as an essential part of day-to-day life. This is because Islam is being elevated to a special position in our society, and members of other faiths, Christians, Jews, Hindus, and Sikhs, are reminded that their own religions are less important than Islam. I am not at all happy about this development.